Good afternoon, everyone, to our counselors and the staff and anyone who may be watching online. Welcome to the special council session of Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. Wow. I'll call the meeting to order. We acknowledge we're in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. On the agenda, be 2.1, approve the agenda. I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda. There was one change, Amanda. I think we included the audit financial statement that were not included in the original package, were they?
Yes, and those were emailed out, and they're in front of them, so there's no need to add it.
Yeah, so everyone would have that. And the only other thing is the intermunicipal sanitary sewer agreement. We said the information would be included today, but you should have that in your package now as well. And the only other thing is we don't need to change it, but on information items, I'd ask for your indulgence. I just want to have 5 minutes. This is our last meeting, so I'd like to have 5 minutes with you folks. Just under information only, so it won't take long. So, ask for a motion to accept the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Joseph, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gilroy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. 2.2, public hearings. There are none. No strategic priorities, no major organizational items, and under organizational policy and bylaw, 5.1, social media policy 1601. Mr. McCracken.
Thank you, thank you, Worship. Bear with me, I get a little tickle in my throat this morning. The first item here, yes, social media policy. This is brought to council committee of the whole meeting recently. I won't spend a great amount of time going through the policy. Just some quick highlights in that reviewing the policy we realized it required a significant overhaul. The amended version expands on the roles and responsibilities of employees, elected officials, volunteers, and committee members with respect to the appropriate and inappropriate use of social media, the oversight and moderation of our social media accounts, and setting standards for messaging. The current policy showing changes was not helpful to include in the package, but we did include the amended draft as well as the existing social media policy. And there's a recommended motion in your package for consideration.
Thank you. So the recommended motion is that council approve the amended social media policy 16-01. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councillor Redmond, seconded by Councillor Gould. Questions or comments for Mr. McCracken? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. 5.2, video surveillance policy amendment 08-03. Mr. McCracken.
Thank you, Worship. Again, this policy was brought to a recent committee of the whole meeting. There's some significant recommended amendments to it. In reviewing our current video surveillance policy, it required a number of sections be expanded or added that include employee roles and responsibilities, video surveillance and viewing, video storage, access and viewing, and unauthorized disclosures. Staff feel the amendments to the policy provide a specific, clear, and comprehensive direction to ourselves and better protects the privacy of the information gathered through our video surveillance system, which is quite extensive since the dissolution of the two towns. We have a number of video surveillance cameras throughout the municipality. Other than that, there's a recommended motion in your package.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve the amended video surveillance policy 08-03. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councillor Joseph, second by Councillor Goodwin. Any questions or comments for Mr. McCracken in regards to this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. 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 Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. 5.3, personnel policy, Mr. McCracken.
Thank you, Worship. The municipality, of course, aims to provide a fair and equitable working environment. It's been quite some time since we had a personnel policy review, since I think it's been 5 years plus. So part of our organizational review and our commitment through the Clear the Deck and the all hands on deck work, staff engaged a consultant to do a review of our personnel policy. And then ourselves, include our CAO, Kelly Seaman, our HR generalist, and myself, did some significant review of the policy after that, and then we engaged our management team as well in a number of meetings to fine-tune the policy to where we thought represented our current practices and added some new practices in terms of where we thought we should be going as an organization. Once we drafted the policy, we also recognized that there was a number of existing policies that need to be repealed, and as such, we're also recommending that the current personnel policy, the workplace clothing policy, sexual harassment policy, and the drugs and alcohol in the workplace policy be repealed, as they are now encompassed as one policy within the package of the personnel policy or handbook that we're calling it. There's a recommended motion in your package, and I'm happy to take any questions. Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve the personnel policy, and furthermore, that council repeal the personnel policy 19-02, the workplace clothing policy 18-016, the sexual harassment policy 18-14, and the drugs and alcohol in the workplace policy 18-01. Somebody like to make that motion, please? Moved by Deputy Mayor Gilroy, seconded by Councilor Redmond. Questions or comments for Mr. McCracken? Seeing none, Mr. Herrick?
Yep, thank you, Your Worship. Just wanted to make a brief comment. This is a significant piece of work that we've finally got completed and gotten to council. It was a piece of work that came from the Clear the Deck and the All Hands on Deck initiative. Fair to say there's been significant organizational change in the term of this council in the past 3 or 4 years, and a significant change at the management level. And so really pleased to be able to get this one done and check the box on this project. And I know I said it earlier when we reviewed this at Committee of the Whole, but I also want to just recognize both our Deputy CAO, Peter McCracken, and our HR Generalist, Kelly Seaman, for all the hard work on this file, and to the management group, senior management group, for their support. So thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. We'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. 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 Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Number 6, business issue. 6.1, equity and diversity terms of reference amendment. Mr. McCracken, this is your day. This is your day.
Yeah. And
You gave Mr. Boone the day off, did you?
yeah, gave Glenn the day off. Yeah. Thank you, Worship. As you know, we've recently approved the terms of reference for an equity, diversity, and advisory committee, which will be tasked. First task will be to develop our first municipal diversity inclusion plan. We had the terms of reference approved at a previous meeting. However, upon looking at the terms of reference again and talking to prospective committee members, we wanted to make a slight change to make it more flexible, and I guess allow us some flexibility after year 1, once the plan is complete, to discuss the mandate of the committee further after that. So council approved the terms of reference. Staff are requesting a minor edit to the terms of reference to change the committee member appointments from 3 years to 1 year. The rationale for this is the mandate of the committee in the first year is to develop an equity and diversity plan. Beyond the plan is uncertain as to what the ongoing function of the committee will be. And there's a recommended motion in your package for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve the amended terms of reference for the Equity and Diversity Advisory Committee. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councilor Joseph, seconded by Councilor Porter. Questions or comments for Mr. McCracken? Seeing none, we'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. 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 Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. 6.2, Equity and Diversity Advisory Committee appointments. Mr. McCracken.
Thank you, Worship. Good news. We've had some interest in people joining our Equity and Diversity Advisory Committee, and as such, we're bringing forth some considerations for committee members. The committee, of course, plays a pivotal role in helping the municipality become a or inclusive service provider in accordance with the Nova Scotia's Dismantling Racism and Hate Act. It will also increase connectedness across the county between government service providers and citizens. There are several names listed in your package: Tammy Drew, Richie Wilcox, Michelle Parsons, Rachel Smith, and Jane Grady. There's a little bit of information there as well on each of the applicants. And of course, the lead staff member for the committee is Stephanie Kalhak, who is our community engagement coordinator. There's a recommended motion in your package. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. So the recommended motion is that council approve the appointment of Tammy Drew, Rachel Smith, Richie Wilcox, Michelle Parsons, and Jane Grady as members of the Equity and Diversity Advisory Committee. Someone like to make that motion, please? Moved by Councillor Gould, seconded by Councillor Redmond. Questions or comments from Mr. McCracken in regards to this agenda item? Seeing none, call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you, sir. 6.3, intermunicipal sanitary sewer agreement with the town of Amherst. Mr. Harrod.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just before I speak on this, probably the last opportunity I'll get to say, in the term of this council, to say thanks for council for their support of staff and the work we've done over the past, 3.5 years that I've been involved, and four for others. So we just wanted to say thank you and appreciate all the support. So, and that support was never more necessary than it was in this file. And so it's really a pleasure to bring this one forward. So the item is an intermunicipal agreement regarding sanitary sewer with the town of Amherst. And anybody who has followed local politics in Cumberland County for the last 15, 20, 25 years will know that this is an extraordinary milestone. The item originates from discussions with the town and Shaw Rural Housing regarding development of what's commonly referred to as the Dolan lands in Brookdale. This is a parcel of land that the municipal boundary, it straddles the municipal boundary on the south side of town. The Municipal Government Act enables this item through a couple of sections. 357 speaks to the process for mutual boundary change, and this agreement features that. And it also speaks to the process, Section 60 speaks to the process that allows municipalities to agree with other municipalities to provide municipal services. There's a recommended resolution that I'll get back to in a bit. But in terms of background, as I think most of us know, the town has had a long-standing policy of not extending its sanitary sewer service beyond its boundary. There are a few notable exceptions, like the recent West Amherst Sewer Memorandum of Understanding and the extension to the regional hospital. But even with those exceptions, the policy remains in place. The municipality was approached by Shaw Rural Housing and the town of Amherst about a potential development in Brookdale, and initial discussions were had about a joint development agreement covering lands in both municipal units. The Shaw proposal is contemplating about 400 potential housing units in the area just outside the municipality, and a similar amount on lands that are currently within the boundary of the town of Amherst. So it's a significant potentially significant housing development. So these discussions about a joint development agreement were very cordial and businesslike and friendly, but a number of issues also made those discussions pretty challenging and quite complex. Discussions about how the interaction between the town and the county would work and what the relationship would be between the eventual customers and landowners. In an effort to support the development of housing in the region and to simplify the ongoing discussions around that joint development, the county proposed that instead of a joint development on the Dolan lands, an arrangement be negotiated whereby the municipality would support an application for mutual boundary change of the Dolan lands, in changing the boundary such that they became part of the town of Amherst, and in return, the town would provide access to its sanitary sewer infrastructure to support development in a defined area just outside the town of Amherst boundary. It was felt that this would support housing development in both municipal units and simplify the process for potential developers. So, as is permitted under the Municipal Government Act, for a number of weeks and months, while briefing our councils, the CAOs of the respective units, along with some legal counsel, support of legal counsel, have been negotiating an agreement that would give effect to the arrangement. The agreement is fairly lengthy and fairly complex, but at a high level, the points are Amherst would, through a mutual boundary change application and with the county support, take in the portion of the Dolan lands that are currently in the municipality. The municipality would have access to 400 units of residential sewer connections in the defined service boundary just outside the town's boundary. There are provisions in the agreement for both municipal units to share any commercial taxes in the in the Dolan lands and in the newly acquired lands the town of Amherst would acquire, and in the newly defined service area that's within the county. So there would be, if there is commercial development in these lands, there would be commercial tax sharing both ways. All new connections to the sewer infrastructure would eventually become customers of the Amherst Sewer Department and would be subject to the same rates, charges, and regulations as customers within Amherst. So that is protection for those customers who would be still within the boundary of the municipality, but subject to the rates and charges of the town. So there wouldn't be an opportunity to create, for example, the differential rate structure. Regulations would be put in place to ensure that new development does not impact existing peak storm water flows in Amherst. And any sanitary sewer infrastructure required to be built to connect to the Amherst sanitary sewer system would be built and funded by developers and then turned over to the town, who would then become completely responsible for operation, maintenance, and replacement. Those are sort of the high-level points. The recommended agreement would be signed immediately if it's approved by this council, and I know that the Amherst Council is considering it at a special meeting tomorrow. It would be signed immediately, but there are a number of conditions that would have to be met before it would take effect. There are a number of policies and bylaws in both municipal units that will have to be amended with respect to items like infrastructure standards, property liens to aid in the collection of delinquent accounts, operation of and access to infrastructure and storm drainage conditions in selected areas. Once all of those policy and bylaw amendments are in place and are satisfactory, then an application to the Nova Scotia Utility and Review Board would be submitted by the town for mutual boundary change, and the final agreement would be effective upon the approval of that application by the Utility and Review Board. And as I said at the outset, after years and having sat in both CAO's chairs in the town and the county, it's kind of a little bit surreal, but after years of disagreements and a seeming inability to come to an agreement on cross-border developments and infrastructure sharing between the town and the county, this initiative is a significant win for both municipal units and for developers and for residential development in the area. In terms of financial implications, that area of the county, that particular property, the property tax that we currently collect on that property is negligible, in the $34, $35 range. With new potential development in the area and access to sanitary sewer, obviously the potential tax assessment associated with potentially almost 400 dwelling units would be substantial, and that would be enjoyed by the town of Amherst. But similarly, by gaining access to sanitary sewer, the lands, particularly in the east and the south of Amherst, are almost certainly likely to be significantly developed, offsetting those potential opportunity costs or lost opportunity. Moreover, with access to central sanitary sewer, it's likely that much denser development will occur due to reduced lot size requirement. There are significant opportunities for both units to benefit from increased tax revenues, and that's also good for residential housing development. The town of Amherst will be bearing the cost of the application for mutual boundary change to the Utility Review Board, and the municipality and the county are sharing legal costs of the facilitation and negotiation of this agreement, which we expect to be somewhere in the $50,000 range. There are, at this point in time, in terms of alternatives, really, an advanced negotiation with councils have been briefed. The time to decide is now. The alternatives are really to proceed with it or to not proceed. To make significant change at this point in time will require us to go back to the drawing board, and conditions will have changed and opportunities will have changed. So, Your Worship, there's a recommended resolution at page 82 of Council's package, and happy to answer any questions that you or council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. So I am going to read the recommended resolution, and then so whereas the Municipal Government Act authorizes municipalities to enter agreements to provide or administer municipal services within or outside the municipality, and whereas the town of Amherst and the municipality of the county of Cumberland wish to enter an agreement respecting the provision of sanitary services provided by the town to the county, now therefore be resolved that council approve the proposed intermunicipal services agreement to enable a mutual boundary change between the town and county in exchange for the provision of sanitary services by the town to the county, and further be resolved that the mayor and CAO be and they are hereby authorized to take such actions and do all things including the execution of such documents, instruments, and other writings as may be necessary or desirable to implement same. Ask for a motion of that, please. Moved by Councilor Redmond, second by Councilor Gould. Questions or comments from Mr. Harrod? Councilor Joseph, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. My 4 years here, I've seen a lot of progression, and I heard different through the grapevine that the bordering municipalities, whether it be Amherst or Oxford, a lot of people didn't want to work with each other. It's great to see all three CAOs, or at least the two CAOs between us and Amherst, work together to get a lot of stuff done and move everything forward. This here project, and then we were part of that, it started a year or two, is a great opportunity for both municipalities. And as we know, we are struggling with housing. So I just want to say thank you to the CAO, staff involved, and everybody involved getting this stuff forward, moving this stuff forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Joseph. Anyone else? Councilor Gould, then Councilor Redmond.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to acknowledge the fact that a lot of hard work has gone into this, and I think it is a big milestone. That property was looking to be developed many, many years ago, and they couldn't come to an agreement. And the potential for us not only to have that land developed at some point, but for us to move forward with much development in District 1. And that was something that I mentioned 4 years ago, was the relationship with the town and the county. And I've attended many functions on behalf of the municipality in the Amherst area over the years, and have tried to make sure that we've had a good, strong relationship with councilors and mayors in that area. And this is a big step forward, so thank you for your work.
Thank you, Councilor Gould. Councilor Redmond.
I just want to say that this is just a pleasure to see such cooperation. After many years of no cooperation, we can't help but move forward as a county, and working together with other municipalities is very, very important for us to move forward. I want to thank Greg and his staff for getting us to this point. And I want to say that this council has been phenomenal to work with for the last 4 years, and I thank you all for the service that you've put in. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Redmond. Deputy Mayor Joseph.
Thank you, Worship.
Or, I'm sorry, Gilroy. I just promoted you. And you answered, too.
Well, you had to do it.
I just promoted
Well,
Councilor
you know,
Councilor Joseph, so.
he's a great guy, and happy to step in his shoes, except for that tie. So, you know what? This is a historic moment for not only the town of Amherst, but the municipality of Cumberland. And really, you know, if anybody's gonna sit around this table and say that what's the path forward? The path forward, there is only one. It's regional cooperation among the municipalities throughout the county. And this is just one. This is a step along the way, but it is a significant first step, and one that's going to leave a lasting legacy for the people of the county over time. And I want to say thank you to the staff and all the people that were involved in making this happen, fellow councilors, Mayor Scott. It's a historic day, and I'm so proud to be here to say yes to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Gilroy. Anyone else? Seeing none, I would only echo the comments that we've heard around the table here already, and I certainly support this, and I think it's a tremendous opportunity for us, a great day for us. I did have two questions, Mr. Harrod. One is around capacity of the existing infrastructure that Amherst has. So are we assured that it has the capacity to actually provide us with our side of the agreement?
Thank you, Worship. Great question, and one that an issue that we spent a lot of time on. You know, not to completely talk about the detailed negotiations, but capacity was an issue that we spent a lot of time on in discussions with Amherst and with Kevin Latimer of Cox and Palmer, who helped us facilitate the negotiation and the work. And we actually had engaged some independent engineering help to deal with that very issue. And we spent a lot of time on it because we were determined to make sure that this agreement withstood the test of time and was enforceable for both units after the current players were no longer in the seats that they're in, whether that be members of council, the mayors, the CAOs, and staff. And so that was an important part of a lot of the work that we did, was to make sure that this endured the test of time. So in order to do that, and in order to make sure that, one of the key points of enforceability was, does that capacity exist? And so through that process, the town confirmed that the capacity exists. Won't get into all of the details of where and how and all of that, but they confirmed that the capacity to take the additional 400 units existed, along with having the capacity for an estimate of their own growth within their own boundary. And I'll come back to that sort of enforceability part. While these were obviously friendly and amicable conversations, we were negotiating an enforceable agreement. And so the town did its due diligence on capacity. They are now in the process of accepting this, and when they consider it and accept it, hopefully, they will be taking on that obligation of providing that capacity after having taken a good, educated look and examination of their capacity. So a lot of words to say, Your Worship, that we're satisfied that the capacity exists, and by signing this agreement, Amherst acknowledges its obligation to provide that capacity.
Thank you. So whether you're a taxpayer in the municipality or a taxpayer in the town of Amherst, no one has to worry that the capacity may not be there for the infrastructures in place today, that this agreement can be met based on the current infrastructure. That was my question, I guess. Mm-hmm. Second was around the expiration of the agreement. So I read about the expiration. Can you explain why there's an expiration to an agreement like this in place?
So the expiration date of the agreement, it's a 99-year agreement. So because there are items of the agreement where once we proceed past a certain point, there's no going back. There's no going back to mutual boundary change. Once the Utility Review Board, with our support, approves mutual boundary change, that territory will become territory of the town of Amherst forever until it's changed again. But we won't have the ability to change that. Once the access to the sanitary sewer system by our residents, county's residents, is gained, there won't be an ability for that to be taken back. I mean, you would have to contemplate a situation where, the tap was turned off to sewer access, and that's just not practical. So we were determined, again, with respect to the enforceability, that it endure time, that it be, for the foreseeable long-term future. And so that's why the expiry date was selected. The legal advice that we received was that it wouldn't be advisable, and perhaps not legal, to agree to an agreement without some sort of term to it. So term had to be addressed. We couldn't just leave term open, that we needed to actually define a term. And that's how we landed on 99 years. Does that answer your question, Your Worship?
It does so. Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Harrott in regards to this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
6.4, audit financial statements 2023-24. Ms. Hurdle, our Director of Finance, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. The auditor is here. If there are any questions, we did go through the non-consolidated and the consolidated statements at the audit committee meeting, and so we're not going to rehash all of that. And I believe there is a recommended motion in your package.
Thank you, Amy. So the recommended motion is that council accept the recommendation of the audit committee, excuse me, and approve the municipality of Cumberland's audit financial statements for fiscal year ended March 31st, 2024. Someone like to make that motion? Moved by Councillor Joseph, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gilroy. Questions or comments for Amy and/or Cindy in regards to this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll call with, just before I call with questions. So I think we had lots of questions earlier, so it's been well vetted out. I'll call for the question. All those in favor say aye. 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 Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, folks. So, folks, that brings us down to number 7, information items, and I didn't ask for the agenda to be changed, but I just wanted to ask you for your indulgence for a few minutes. So 4 years have passed since the 9 of us, as elected folks, came together, and if you remember back, the first meeting we had together, we agreed that, at the time, that to be successful as a council, we had to agree that an issue in the district for a councillor should be an issue for all 9 of us. And, you know, you have proved that many times over and over to me, that you've accepted that responsibility and you've indeed addressed those issues. So even though it may not have been something that had any impact or effect at all on you and your district, you took it on as if it was, and you supported your colleagues. And I believe that that's one of the main reasons well, how this council was able to be successful. So I want to say thank you, first of all, for that. The other thing I want to say is that, you know, if you look at the last 4 years, some days it seems like 4, other days it seems like 14, some other times it only seems like 4 months. So depending what the day is, but we brought about a lot of change in this municipality. Mr. Harrod and I talk about this often. We brought about a lot of change, and you know, the public see some of it they feel, and other times they may have no idea. But as we sit around this table monthly in our meetings, we've seen many changes. We had major reviews, the fire service, the police service. We did the clear the deck when it came to the organization itself. So a lot of, and we've done and completed and taken on a lot of capital projects. Very expensive, no question. But having said that and having done that, we've still been able to, at the very least, maintain taxes and on a couple occasions, reduce taxes. So I think every one of you should hold your head high in regards to what you've been able to accomplish over the last 4 years. I could go on a lot about a lot of the projects we take. We don't need to do that. We all know what they are, and I just want you to know that I respect each one of you so much for your ability to work as a team. Now, when it comes to the re-election, some of us aren't, by choice, coming back. And I want to say thanks to the ones who have decided not to re-offer. Personal reasons, and you deserve, excuse me, deserve the thanks of the folks of your district, but also all of us here. Some of you are coming back by acclamation. Now, some people may say, well, that's just as a result of, you know, nobody decided that they want to put their names forward. Not necessarily so. I think a lot of times it's because, and not that this doesn't mean anything about those who are in an election race. I'm just saying that a lot of times, you know, councilors have worked very hard, and I think people in your own district have seen that, and they appreciate it. And I think for various reasons, they've decided to, other folks have decided not to put their name forward. So congratulations to all of you for that. And then lastly, the ones that are in election mode now, and they're facing some competition when it comes to re-election. I want to say that each one of you should hold your heads high as well. You've done a great job. I think the people in your areas respect it, and I think that you will see that they do respect and appreciate what you've done. So, and to a new council, new mayor and council coming in forward here in a few weeks, I want to say good luck to you. I wish you all the best. You have lots of challenges ahead of you, but I think a lot of them are behind you now, and I think the groundwork, I really believe, has been laid for a great future for this municipality and for a future council. So I think that I think you've got a great future, and I do wish you all the best, all of you. Lastly, to the staff. So I've always said this, that unfortunately the public don't have the opportunity to see the inner workings of the organization like we do monthly and daily, sometimes through the building, and the work that's presented to us, the reports that are done monthly by directors, and I know the directors will be quick to say, well, they just come and present the work, but they have all their staff under them that you know, do the day-to-day work. But again, unfortunately, the public don't have an opportunity to see that and feel that and understand it. But anybody that is watching or anybody that does listen, I want to say that we are tremendously, we receive so much benefit from the staff. We're so fortunate to have the staff we have. I often wonder, I shouldn't say this, but I often wonder sometimes, hopefully we're going to be able to keep them, Mr. Herrick, because, you know, they have a lot of expertise in their own fields, and they do a tremendous job for us, whether they're at the director level or right down below to the newest person just hired from the last few weeks. So, unfortunately, the public don't have an opportunity to see it. We know it, and we have to really hold them up on high. And I want to say, personally, and I know it's on behalf of our council, to the staff that are here, and you may listen, and with your own staff and your own offices, please, on behalf of all of us, thank you and thank them. This organization is dependent upon the very professional folks that we have, and we're very fortunate to have all those folks working with us. So thank you very much. And I think, Cindy, you mentioned during your presentation earlier about, you know, about the financial situation of the municipality, but you gave credit, for example, to our tax sales, for example, how quickly, you know, Jennifer Moore is able to get these forward, you know, for us, as you know, to the tax sale, and we take advantage of that. So there's a lot of great effort being done here, and I'm glad that someone like yourself, Cindy, that, you know, that you appreciate that and you see it. So thank you for that. The last thing is this: we just talked about the intermunicipal agreement with Amherst, and Deputy Mayor Gilroy mentioned about how important it is, and that's the future for us, the agreements and working together. One thing that we can be proud of, I think, as a council, is our ability to work with the two other units, especially the town of Amherst, because it seems like we have a lot of interaction with them. But the cooperation, you know, we can all go back not too many years back. Councilor Redmond, we talked about this. You can go back not too many years back and it'd be unheard of. It wouldn't even have the discussion. But we've had the discussion, we've had the talks, we've sat with the other folks. We understood that it's our friends and families and neighbors that are either living or shopping in their areas and our areas, and they have cottages. So it's this imaginary line that we have around all of us is really just that, imaginary. And the ability for councils to work together and put all that aside and do what's best for the good of all, I think really showcases what a council is all about. And I want to say to this council and to the staff that you've been able to set all that aside and do what's best for the residents of Cumberland County, and you should be very proud of that. So anyway, thank you, and good luck to all of you. Motion to adjourn, please. Deputy Mayor Gilroy, last one. Thank you, folks, and thanks to everybody for being here today. Thank you. We are adjourned.